Good evening, traders. Chris Buss here with Traders Profit Compass with a closing market wrap for Thursday, June 2nd. It is 7:20 in the evening as I'm starting the video. And as always, please run your player at 1.5x. I want to start off this evening with where we left off this morning on our last slide of ARKW and just kind of set the stage for where we were at this morning. Had a lot of bearish news. We had Facebook from yesterday with Sandberg leaving, big rug pull. We had Microsoft pre-market with a pre-announced, not really earnings, but related to earnings, that FX hit on the strength of the US dollar. They said that was going to impact their earnings going forward. We had Jamie Dimon out with comments. There's a hurricane brewing out there and get ready, and could be anything. We had Lael Brainerd hit the TV with as hawkish a statements as you're ever going to get out of her, who's typically known as a dove. What's the point? The point is this market, after 2 days of wobbling, had every excuse to take it down, and they ripped it the other way. And what we said this morning was we had multiple days. We had multiple days of bullish activity. Just Thursday and Friday, we had 2-3% days. It was more on ARK. But in the broad markets, 2 back-to-back 3% days. On the NASDAQ, you just can't go on forever stacking bullish days like that. There is going to be a time of corrective activity. We had 2 days of that set up in a lot of names with nice bull flag setups. What did we say this morning? We said stay nimble. Stay nimble. Don't discount the possibility of a rug pull. Don't discount the possibility of a breakout after this nice setup. We said that we were leaning long. We've been long. We also said that we had a feeling that there was a lot of offsides positioning out there with the big money players being underexposed to equities. And now 2 things are happening. The bear market crowd that have been trying to pick a top where it's going to roll over, they had to cover. And you got the institutions trying to get back at least to neutral rather than being underexposed. And now you've got the FOMO crowd. Oh, I was scared back here. Didn't really believe it here. Didn't believe it here. Oh, I was right. See, it was just a bear market rally, and now the thing's rolling over. And oh my God, it broke out. I've got to get involved. And here they come. So we also said that your ARK names were going to be your high beta names. Up 7%. NASDAQ up 3%. Where were your opportunities? I mean, if you were right on top of it, you could have bought a reclaim of 56. Let's say that wasn't going to be in the cards. Happened pretty fast. You had a chance at 57. And even at 57, you got a $2 move, which is basically 4% on a $50 stock. What I want you to keep in mind going forward is on whatever stock that you're trading, remember how you make that measured move target? You take the first leg, this distance here, and add it to the bottom of the flag. And if you do that, I did it offline. If you do that, your A, B, C move comes up here right in at 63. So you can do that on any particular stock that you're trading. So that in a nutshell is what happened today. I think we've definitely got a chance to push further. Let's get back in line with our normal sequence of how we look at the markets. I'm going to jump back here to the NYMO. We had a two-day pullback to 60, and then we got a bounce today on the NYMO. Still overbought, but we had hypothesized that with that explosive move, we were going to set aside our normal ritual of getting out of longs and getting ready to short. We thought it was different this time. So far, it has been. So, say kudos to us. It could have gone the other way, but in this case, it didn't. We got a nice expansion of breadth today. We were down here. We're on the percentage of stocks above their 50 on the NYSE. We were down at 40, and now we're up at 50. So breadth is expanding. That's always a good thing in a rally. If we look at the NASDAQ, same type of deal. Got overbought, two-day pullback. Now we're back over that 60 line, 66, and looking to head higher. Here's the breadth on the NASDAQ. Not as good as the NYSE. We were down at 30. Now we're up at 38. Higher is better. Maybe we can get up here into the 50 range. I think a lot of the, well, I can't really say that. Just kind of talking out my rear end. I was going to say that the NASDAQ's being led by the large cap names, you know, the fat man names that we're going to focus on here in a minute. But you could see names like all across the ARC complex. Those were all up big. So I can't really say it's totally being led by the large cap names. So be that as it may, there's been a lot of advancing issues in this rally. Let's look at SPY. We said this morning that price was pinched between the 8 and the 20 on the top, or on the bottom, and the 50 EMA on the top. I've highlighted that where the 50 comes in at 417.86. That's going to be a key level tomorrow. Why? Whenever you recapture a key moving average from below, that moving average should act as support, just as it did down here. You can see we had a couple days where we reached down to touch the rising 8 and the rising 20, and it acted as support. And so tomorrow, if we can break above 417.86, then that would be a great place to shoot against long and see if we can get a push up towards this gap and the 200 here in gold at 430. If we go down to the 60-minute chart, what we said this morning is we kind of hypothesized that, you know, this was two hard bars of selling yesterday, followed by a 4-bar reversal that looked kind of like a bear flag. Well, with Microsoft, with Facebook, with Jamie Dimon, we got 1 bar follow through, but look where it stopped, right at the top of the gap at the prior low of yesterday. That gave you a double bottom look. Certainly an objective place to take a long if you are looking at where was the low yesterday, where are we at today? We had two bars, you can see them there, that touched the same exact location. Great place to try an objective long there with a stop just below. Okay, you didn't get it. Don't be disgusted. Where's your next opportunity? That came at 4:11 right here on this breakout, and then that was kind of all she wrote. Right up through this resistance zone, it hesitated at 4:15 for quite a little while, and finally got the breakout above into the close as the panic buyers came rushing in. Now, I think tomorrow, I moved this pivot up to 415. I think that's the level that has to hold tomorrow on, any kind of a weak open. Remember, we've got the the May jobs report tomorrow at 8:30 before the bell. If something, whatever it is, whatever they report, if that results in a weak open and we come back to 415 and hold it, perfect place to try a long with a stop just below and see if they don't come in and buy it up and give you a push towards 120. Now, if say the report is well received, that report comes out at 8:30, and we get above, wherever we open above 420, just remember there'll be a little gap below, and then we will surely be above the 50 EMA. Remember what I just showed you on the daily chart. Be open to the possibility of them coming back, filling that gap to yesterday's close, and then going higher. If they don't, if they fill the gap and keep going, then 415 will be support. And if it's just a bad day all around, I would be concerned if 415 were to break. Then you're most likely going to come right back down to this 411 area, kind of test this support line there. So those are the levels, though. I'm very confident in that. It'll just depend on how that jobs report is received at 8:30 and how things proceed from there. Nice day on the Qs, almost 3%. Same setup here, 8 and the 20 coming in at 305. We came down to test that on the open, and then it was off to the races. Now we're coming into this resistance zone between 317.35 and 322, and we've got the 50 EMA sandwiched in between. That will be a big level, and really this is a comparable level here on SPY. So we've already taken that out. So from that standpoint, SPY has already crossed that big hurdle. Now, as we go to the Qs, I wanted to show it here. This will be a really big challenge. If we were to break out above 322, then you really got some running room up to, I would say, at least 330. Fill this gap, and then from there, potentially come up and tag the 200 or this downtrend line. And just looking back here at the last bear market rally, that's kind of exactly what we did. We came up, we took out the 200, and then we found this downtrend line, and then it rolled over from there. So we got hurdles in front of us, but I don't think they're unsurmountable. I think we definitely have an opportunity if we can, get follow through, get through 322 right here, then we have a chance to extend next week. Zooming down on the 1 hour chart on the QQQ, here's that big resistance zone we just were talking about. This morning, just talking about trade opportunities, we took a look below, that failed, we reclaimed this 306, and then that was an entry. 309 was an entry. I mean people were obviously even buying at 312 because it was a breakout, right? You took out the prior high, you made a new high, and then you broke out. So all along the way, there were opportunities to get long the Qs. Now, tomorrow, I want to see 312 hold on any kind of a, weak opening after that jobs report. And you've got the levels above here. If we were to, gap higher on some kind of good news, just remember that there'll be a gap below that may want to get filled before we go higher. Moving on to IWM, really nice day, 2.44%. We actually broke out of this 187.50 area and actually got above the 50-day moving average that comes in at 188.44. We closed at 188.76. So from that standpoint, nice check mark for the bulls. Next technical target comes in right here at 191. Then we've got a big downtrend line at 196. Comes in right there. That will be my second target for, tomorrow or Monday, if we can keep things going in the right direction. Here was that bull flag. We opened a little bit weak, and then we took out that 185. That was a buy point. Break above this 1 hour downtrend line at 186, and then a breakout above 187.50. And so now we've got a gap at 191.50 up to 194, and we've got a little resistance here at 190. So those are your upside targets. On the downside, I want to see 187.50 hold tomorrow on any kind of weakness. You don't ever want to, come back in to the trading range. That makes price really, really vulnerable. But again, keep in mind those technical tenets. Say we open weak, say we're down here at, 186.50 or 187, then we'll have a big gap above to fill. You can buy that recapture 187.50, and then at a minimum play for a gap fill up to today's close, and then if all the stars align, it just keeps on going, and then you can look for your upside targets. Phenomenal day for Facebook. I mean, what can I say? They pulled the rug last night. They opened this morning. Recapture of 190, 191, right in that area was a buy. And then it was lights out. Even if you didn't buy the open, if you bought 190, you got a $10 move right there. That will pay a lot of gas bills, right? Put a lot of gas in the tank, even on just, a couple of contracts. That is a lot of money. Note the bull cross here on PPO. Notice we're in the bullish regime here. So again, just using those technical tenets, what would a measured move target look like? Well, you take this leg from 176, let's just call it 200. Let's just call it 25 bucks. 25 bucks onto 188. What is that? 98, 208, 213. Your target's up here. 212, 213. That's your measured move target off of this A, B, C move. So that's well within the realm of possibility. Remember, it's just a target. It's not an absolute. So, if you were long against 190, 197, let's call it, right here, you probably would not be disappointed if, it made it to 209, right? That's another 10 bucks in your pocket. And that's exactly what I would do tomorrow. I would stay long against the top of this gap in this support zone here and see if you don't get follow through. And remember, tomorrow is Lottery Friday. If you're into that sort of thing, if they decide to rip it and you get a sense that they're going to go into Friday and close the week strong, you can get a lottery ticket on your favorite name and see what happens. Just remember, a lot of lottery tickets end up on the floor. Just depends on how you care to trade it. Sometimes what I like to do is it's not really a lottery ticket so much as I think we're going to move higher throughout the day, is just get something at the money. That way, if things go higher, you're going to get paid. You're going to be in the money versus, buying something, like a 207.50 when the stock's at 199. That might be a stretch. And even if it makes it to 207, you still lose, right? You gotta get in the money. So sometimes on a Friday, if I'm feeling confident about a name or at least a direction of a name, get something at the money, because there's not going to be a lot of time value built into that option. And really, whatever it ends up being, but at least you'll be positive versus buying a true lottery ticket, way out of the money for pennies. That'll look real nice if you go in the money. You bought something for a nickel and it ends up being $1, but it's a low probability trade, hence the name lottery ticket. So anyways, moving on to Apple. Not as underperformed today. It was only up 1.68%. I'm still long. I'm in the next week though, not tomorrow. Need a breakout here above 151 to get going up towards 153.50 and then 157.50. But even here you can see that measured move A, B, C puts it well up there. And if we can get a push tomorrow, get a breakout, and have some follow through next week, I think that looks good. Tesla, great day for those of you that played it. We had a baby undercut of this 735, and those were the prior lows that we called out this morning, right? If you were on Tesla, on your game, had your alarm set, knew your levels, you could have got in there. You could have got in on the reclaim of 750, and that's all she wrote. Little weakness into the close, but I mean, this in and of itself looks like a bull flag, right? A, B, C. So tomorrow, I'd buy a reclaim of 780 if, you know, things look bullish, with a stop just below, and then shoot for 820 if all the stars align. But again, look at the measured move targets that this thing is projecting, going from 620 to 780. That's $160. Add 160 on to 730. That's way up there at 890, something like that. So, and that would align really, really well with filling this gap as well. So some really big projected moves if this rally can maintain momentum and nothing derails it. Strong PPO, strong RSI, that all looks great. I don't think anybody saw this coming. They didn't see the pre-market rug pull from, let's call it 273 down to 262. They bought that thing right up, filled that gap, and just kept on going. If you got that, I mean, you got to be on top of the world right now. I don't think anybody saw that coming, which, of course, is the perfect time to rip it when everybody is selling out down here. What were your potential entries? Well, you got a recapture of 264, you had a recapture of 266, and then you had a recapture of 270 here, and then, you know, right on up the road it went. Tomorrow, I want to see 273 hold, and I want to take out 277 at this prior high. And we already had, this is the double bottom measured move up here at 284, which would be good. But even this move here, this A, B, C move, projects it way up there. And if all the stars align, we can fill this gap to 290. And remember, that 290 should be a number that really sticks out in your mind if you've been involved or watching along on Microsoft. 290 has been a wall for a long, long time. If we go back on the daily chart, you'll see lots and lots of rejections there. I think we were up to 7 or 8 at last count. So if we're lucky enough or good enough to get up to 290, that's where I would be, dialing back my expectations for further upside. Amazon, we had the perfect setup today. Again, what did we say? We were in the middle of the range. We said you needed to wait for 2,400 or a breakout above 2,500. Go back and listen to the video. You got a perfect touch on that opening candle down to 2,400. That was your buy. If you missed that, your second chance was when it reclaimed the open, right? So buy at support with a stop just below. Second buy was recapture of the open going red to green. That's always a positive. And then you got your $100 move, right? Free 50 club times 2, 2,400 to 25.10. That's your $100 move. And so tomorrow, the nice thing about this setup tomorrow is you took out the high volume overpriced bar. That should act as support. You want to see 2,500 hold. I put in an extra resistance level here at 25.75, and then you got the gap at 26.25 as your upside targets on Amazon. Looks really, really strong. Google, nice day as well, and nice setup as well. We talked about 22.75 as being support. We undercut that. We quickly reclaimed it. That was your buy, and off to the races. Tomorrow, I want to see this prior high hold at, let's call it, what is that? 23.30, right in that area. And we got some resistance at 23.70, and then at 2,400, and then we've got the overhead gap above. Again, look at this impulsive move coming from 20.50 up to 23.30. That's $300 more or less. Little pullback, add $300 to 22.75, and you got 2,500, which is up here. So more gas left in the tank if this thing wants to go there, and that would be a big technical check mark to fill this box, fill this gap before it eventually rolls over. Netflix was another nice day. We had 195 as our pivot. We undercut it for half a second, reclaimed it, then right off to the races. University of Florida wanting money. Don't have any right now. So anyways, your upside targets now are 210, and that could be an explosive move if you were to recapture this prior trading range. I think you could come up to this high volume overpriced bar right here for 230, and potentially even get up to the gap at 250. Tomorrow, I want to see this thing hold 200, or else it could roll back down to 195. Semis, super nice move. We had these two liquidation bars yesterday, bounced up a little bit, came back. What did we say this morning? Had to hold 240. That's exactly what it did. Perfect place to buy. Second place to buy was 243 on the reclaim of this bottom of this prior gap. Remember the muscle memory? Went right back up and broke out of the highs. And there were people buying on this breakout as well. I was lucky enough to get most of this move. And so I rolled out to next Friday's 250 into the close. So just to take a little risk off, I was, had strikes, down in here like 245 I had. So I was pretty well in the money. I like to be rather defensive. If I got an expiration tomorrow, that would be real painful if jobs comes out and a bad reaction and we gap down, those gains would disappear. So I'd rather stay long but at a higher strike, more or less go to the bank with this one and then hope for the best on the next one. But above here tomorrow, I want to see 247 hold and go for 252 and then 256. ARC-F, high beta up 7% versus QQQ 2 3/4. I think you do well to, if you are looking for, either a high beta long, a high beta short, or a hedge. I think these are really good vehicles, just because you get a lot of horsepower out of them, if you're right. Recaptured this 1950 level. That was your buy. If you didn't catch it right at the open, might have been hard to do. And then you got your move up to the bottom of the gap. Now tomorrow, obviously looking for a gap fill and then a move to 2075. You want to hold this area because of this prior high. You want to make sure you take that out at 1925. If you're not in, just key off the open. If you break higher to fill this gap, if it happens too fast, you can buy it on the breakout of this gap at 1975. So you can alarm those various levels. And really the best scenario for something like this that's right on the line is a 1 or 2 bar sell on the open and then a recapture, because then you can grab it right at the perfect level and get the gap fill and hopefully proceed on higher. ARC-G held support and went right on up. Tomorrow you're looking for a breakout above 34, looking for 35.5, and then wrapping up with ARC-K. 60-minute recaptured this 43.50 and then actually closed above the prior high at 45.50. So now you're looking for 47 and then 49 and then 51 on the upside. I just wanted to make a closing remark on oil. I was quite disappointed today on the oil equity names. I mean, I was long Valero, I was long XLE, I'm long a couple of other oil related names, and we opened down at 111 on WTI, and then it went straight up, and it was up $5-6 in a straight line off the open. And I'm looking at XLE red. VLO, Valero had a nice opening, went up high, but then it started rolling over. I'm like saying, what's going on? And then come to find out that the administration is seriously considering windfall profits tax on producers. And I mean, I know it might sound good to the masses out there. Look, we're going to soak big oil, and that's why gasoline prices are so high, because of big oil, soaking it to everybody. But whenever you tax something, you get less of it. And at this juncture in energy, we need more of it, right? We need more production to come online. And so I think on XLE, I was the last to find out. The big money already knew that this thing might be coming. And so even though WTI was rocketing higher. XLE was in the weeds. And if that thing, if that thing becomes law, it's going to whack a lot of these producers. So I got a little bit skittish. It did come back a little bit in the afternoon. Maybe I panicked. Maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe it's fine. We'll find out. But you know what? I know how to buy. So if some levels are recaptured, get back in it. We were nicely profitable on our 85-95 June spread. 2 weeks to go before expiration. I didn't want to see that all slip away. So anyhow, I took that off. I'm still long some other names, but they all traded back in the afternoon and gave back a lot of gains. That was really, really disappointing. So we'll see how it goes. But the one thing I'll say, that windfall profit tax goes into effect, you just might see oil do a moonshot, because the implication is, fine, if we're going to be taxed, why produce? So that, cuts back production even more. And so WTI might do a moonshot on that type of an announcement. So still long oil, just a little skittish on the equities. So let's wrap it up there. Long video, but a really nice day in the markets. We've been either lucky or good. Doesn't really matter which. We've been on the right side of this rally. I want to keep leaning long, but with our heads on a swivel, not in the clouds, not thinking, to the moon. It's still a bear market rally. Anything can happen. Just know your levels, have your stops, respect them, and I think we'll do real well. If you're new to the channel, thanks for spending 40 minutes with me. I hope the levels help you trade tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, one last thing. I probably will not put out a pre-market video tomorrow, because chances are it's going to be invalidated by whatever the jobs report produces. So we've got the levels, we've got the game plan. What I'll do is I'll send out a note after a jobs report, just kind of with the lay of the land, to get you ready for the trading day. And so if that appeals to you, hit the subscribe button, hit the alarm bell, go in the show notes, get the link to drop in your email address. You'll get those pre-market notes. You'll get my other content, morning, noon, or night, right to your email address. You won't have to hunt for it or look for it on YouTube. You'll get it right there. So have a good night. Congratulations on your trades today. If you messed up, it happens to everybody, including me. Try to jot those things down. Commit them to memory. Try not to make the same mistake again and again and again. Learn from it. Tighten up your process, and you'll become a better trader. So this has been Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and talk to you tomorrow.